So with the entire Democratic Party lining up behind one Joe Biden screaming, "I believe Joe," the new strategy is to say that Obama has vetted Joe Biden, and because Obama vetted Joe Biden and I trust Obama, I also, by definition, trust Joe Biden. Now, I have proven that the man that they're saying that they trust is a brazen, habitual liar that got dropped out of the other campaign back in the 80s because he was lying about civil rights and lying about his education and also plagiarizing speeches. That's the man that they say that they entirely and utterly and completely believe. Despite the fact when the allegations against Ford were out, they believe Ford. How strange. Let's hear the clip of Joy and Reid. They finally get around to talking about the allegations now that Joe Biden has come forward and had the conversation with Mika. Let's hear Joy and Reid discuss the allegations of Tara Reade.
Within a matter of days, he was honest about marijuana use
and had to step down.
Yeah. But a claim of sexual assault is not sufficient.
And can I tell you why, the why of it? We're going to get more into this later in the show because this is the topic what people want to know. This is a lifetime potential appointment.
Now, understand what the announcer or the person she's talking to is saying. They're having this argument about Kavanaugh being on the Supreme Court bench, and she's skeptically saying, and you're saying that this allegation is not enough to keep him off the bench? And Joy-Ann Reid doesn't necessarily push back on that. Now, Reid has had multiple people on the show talking about Kavanaugh in skeptical terms in the same way this conversation was going down. Now, let's be clear here. There is more corroborating evidence for the Tara and Reid case, meaning than the Ford case. And despite there being more evidence for the Tara and Reid case than the Ford case, Joy-Ann Reid still comes down and speaks about it in a different tone. So let's hear the other clip that was supposed to be played first on the allegations that Joy-Ann Reid is covering. Let's hear that clip.
Keep talking.
This is the clip with Joy-Ann Reid and the assault.
To that point, the New York Times led an investigation into these allegations and contacted nearly 24 people who worked with Mr. Biden in the early 90s. None were able to corroborate any details of Ms. Reid's allegation, and many even said Biden's office had the reputation of being a supportive workplace for women. We also have to talk about the timing of all of this. Ms. Reid made her allegations public in late March, when the primary was down to just Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, and days before Sanders announced he was suspending his campaign. Some Biden supporters have questioned Ms. Reid's motives because of that timing. Ms. Reid voted for Sanders in the California primary, and that, of course, doesn't mean that she's not believable. But some Sanders supporters have used the allegations to call for Biden to be replaced on the Democratic ticket because of these claims, with the implication that Sanders should replace him.
Now, think about what she's saying here. Now, you heard the first clip where she's talking about Kavanaugh, and her guest made an assertion that an allegation in and of itself was enough to keep Kavanaugh off the bench because it's a lifetime appointment, with Joy-Ann Reid not giving any pushback and having multiple videos basically going after Kavanaugh. Now, in this very specific case, Joy-Ann Reid is talking about the allegations, but she's very skeptical of these allegations and is even pointing out she's a Bernie supporter, and many Bernie supporters want to get Bernie on the ballot. That's why these people are, doubtful of this allegation. Whether the woman is a Bernie supporter or not has nothing to do with whether or not she was actually sexually assaulted. And again, there are more allegations on the side of Reid, meaning there's more corroborating evidence on the side of Reid than there was on Ford. So why is Joy-Ann Reid taking this peculiar position where in one case she's all on board against Kavanaugh, but in this case she's all on board for Joe Biden? Is it possible that it's for political reasons? Bob, how on earth are they making this switch in this way, and making the switch in this way believes that the public is supposed to accept this level of disparity in their opinions on cases that are almost identical?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just going to do it. I don't know what
they're just going to run with it
because they can, because their viewers will buy it hook, line, and sinker. I mean, we've had people come on our show and say, "Oh, Joe Biden's like a brother to me. If somebody accused my brother, I've known my brother. It's like, you didn't grow up with Joe Biden. Like, you don't know Joe Biden. Like, you've been to dozens of events and heard Joe Biden talk. You could have been on Joe Biden's staff and not know Joe Biden. There are people that put on one public persona and behind closed doors have another persona. I don't know who Joe Biden is. I haven't been in the rooms when he's talking to segregationists about how they're going to compromise to address racial issues in America. We haven't been a part of that. And so that's why it's even more disgusting, because these people don't know Joe Biden, but yet they're willing to stake their own reputation and their own career on it. And Jamarl, it comes to what happened. I had so many of these conversations 4 years ago with people after it became clear that something fishy or something happened with the Republican Party in the terms of Cambridge Analytica. And before people really knew what was happening, people said the same thing over and over. They said, look, the Republican Party steal election. They do all these dirty tactics. You know what we need to do? We need to do the exact same thing. They're not some higher moral party that has better politics than the Republican Party because they reference black people or reference poor people. These people are more than okay with being cynical political actors who lie to the American public. They don't care about young people because young people don't turn out and vote. They never say, oh, how do we get the young people to vote? They simply say, well, tough luck. If they don't come out and vote, us billionaires, millionaires, and those who do continue to uphold these policies will continue to do so at their expense.
That's exactly what they do. I mean, because it's not, it's not magic to get people out. It's just not. It's a situation where those people believe that you're doing something and engaging them in some way, that there's some benefit for them to expend the energy that they would have to expend in order to get this person or that person elected. And if there is nothing real and tangible in the sense of those people being given something by the government to which they give their taxes and their energies in order to keep propped up, then why would they engage the system? So you have all of these people year after year after year less engaged in the political process, and the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, for that matter, just writing them off. All right, we have 50% to work with. How are we going to get this 50%? We have 48% to work with. How are we going to get this 48%? As opposed to actually asking the basic question, why don't we get these people? The catch here is they don't want to ask that question. Because if you ask that question, you come back with, well, Medicare for all, getting rid of student debt, that will get people engaged in the political process. Yeah, but we don't want to do those policies. We just need to come up with better framing for this stuff. I do want to pivot, Bob.